Welcome to the Flying Chariots the Rise podcast with your hosts, Dustin and Chrissy. And today we have Rachel Krebs Trasiela. Rachel, I know you're the co host of a podcast and you're a
Mm-hmm.
paranormal investigator. Sinister Sisters, that's the name of your paranormal group, right? That's pretty
It
bad.
is. It is, yeah. We were trying to think of a spooky name, I think. My friend Jen and I, we were um, we were just talking, kind of shooting the shit over lunch, like we normally do, because we work together kind of in our day jobs. And I was just about like I was separating from the team I was on before, and I was contemplating if I wanted to like start my own team. And I was kind of like, how it's an expensive hobby to have.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I'm not sure I'm ready to make the financial commitment. And Jen was just like, I'll go in there with you. I'll whatever half and half. And so we always used to nickname each other, like she would call me Spooky Sis, because the second we met each other there was like a connection, and we love horror movies. She's born the day before Halloween, so she feels like it's her birthright. But yeah, and so we just connect. And then when she found out like I actually went out and investigated, she was like, oh my god, that's the coolest thing ever. And I was like, you'll have to come with. And so she joined a couple times when I was on the other team. And so she was excited to kind of start. And we were trying to think of all these names of like, just different spooky names or whatever. And I was like, what about Sinister? And she was like, that's it, Sinister Sisters. And so
I
that's how.
freaking love it. Sinister Sisters. It's like an 80s hair band.
Exactly.
I
We're
like it.
rocking it.
Yes.
Move over, Bengals.
Well, I'm in that process now of finding the right group. Obviously, my friend Laura, me and her are tight, but we're still kind of working through people and interviewing, kind of working interviews, as we like to say.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably a very smart thing, because we've had like it's sort of just even over the course of like a year, it sort of ebbed and flowed. Like we had like her stepchildren came and they did a couple investigations with us, and then they were like, yeah, we're so jazzed. We want to join the team. And so we were kind of like, well, like they're her stepkids. So we are kind of like, okay, you just join up. And then it was the worst probably mistake we made.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it costs like I think that's a Jen's kind of stepped away from doing paranormal for a little while because she's trying to resolve like the issues in the family and stuff now. So it's kind of like, oh.
Oh no, it's finding the right mix of people is really important. People don't realize, you can have the paranormal in common, but sometimes you're not vibing right.
Exactly, exactly. And I think sometimes you learn the hard way, and it's probably a smart thing to do to, like, in hindsight, right? In 2020, like, because I think going forward, we won't do that ever again. Like, we would probably just have them at least investigate with us, like in different investigations for like maybe a year or something like that before we make the commitment to bring other people on. So,
That's a
you
good
know,
idea. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
you
tough.
don't
It's tough.
know.
It's tough. It's cool talking to someone like you though, because you kind of get it.
Yes, yeah.
I quit it for a
Unfortunately.
long time, but I'm back at it. We kind of just started up again. It would be cool, like if you ever can, if you're in Nashville, right?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville.
If I ever head over there, or if you're ever in New
I
York
was
for
like,
any reason, we're getting
yeah.
together and we're planning an investigation.
I know. I was like, could we meet like in between someplace? I'm sure there's so many locations
Oh, there
along
are.
that east in between here and there.
There are.
So,
You used
yeah,
to live in California.
I did. Yeah, used to live, I kind of grew up in the Bay Area.
You were
So,
talking about the Winchester Mystery House, which
oh,
my God, I want to visit so bad.
talk about like a sensitive sort of nightmare. I mean, it was cool. It was cool in a lot of ways. We like my husband and I would go there a lot. And so we were just doing like the regular tours because they weren't allowing, I guess, investigations. I think you probably have to have some
Yeah,
sort of TV connection or something
right.
to do it. But we were just like, we'd gone there so many times on tours that I reached out to us and we're like, hey, we're gonna offer a new tour. Would you guys like to come on and like check it out ahead of time, like a sort of beta test it? And I was like, oh my God, because they were getting ready to like, it was going to be in areas of the house that's not on the normal tour. So it's sort of a behind the scenes tour of the house. And I was like, oh yes, yes, yes. I want to get in. There's so many rooms that I like want to get in when you like go on the regular tour. You're like, how come we can't go over there? You know? But so we were like, we went to this one room, it was like way at the top of one of the like, I don't know what they call it, not tower, but it was at very top of the attic. And it was very roughly framed in. It didn't have walls. It just was like basically boards. And I walked into the room and I got so dizzy. Like it was just like the whole room was like spinning for me. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I felt like I was gonna pass out, you know. So I go to my husband, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna pass out. He's like, come out of the room. And so, but I was like, I want to know what the room is. So he's just like, let's stand out here, see if you feel better. So we kind of stood in between like the doorway from the hallway to that room. And, you know, as soon as I stepped out of the room, I felt much better. So I kind of stood there to hear what the tour guide said that room was for. And they were basically like, well, we think this was Sarah Winchester's initial seance room. And I was
Oh,
like,
seance room. Oh my
oh,
God.
I was like, oh, okay, that explains it all right there. Cause I think that it like, I'm sure that as many, if she had nightly seances and she did rotate rooms, but you know, I think this was, they were saying was her primary room that she did seances in. So I don't know. I think she opened something there,
Portal.
honestly. Exactly.
Well, you're
Exactly.
you're sensitive to this type of thing. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but I guess that's the whole story is this woman went to she had a seance in her seance room and like a medium told her that she has to keep building or she'll continue to be haunted by the spirits of
Correct.
people who were killed by the Winchester
Yeah,
and
by the gun.
okay,
Yep.
the gun.
Yeah.
And then that's she must have been OCD because this resonates with me. Like that is an OCD thing to do. I feel you. And so after that, she just kept building and building, and she just never stopped.
Nope. Not until I think all work ceased the day she died. So
Right, right.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just, is it really like miles of this stuff? I mean, they make it sound like it's so big.
It's
Really that
immense.
big?
It's immense. Yeah. It's immense.
Wow.
It's like multiple blocks and then it's not just like widthwise, but then it's also well lengthwise and then widthwise it goes all the way back to I guess it was originally farmland when she moved out there. It had a simple farmhouse with just a few bedrooms. And then after her child died and her husband died, and then there were more, I think, in the actual Winchester side of the family that ended up passing away. That's where she got that whole like curse thing, you know,
And
like my
that's why she
family's
got so
cursed.
rich, right? Because she was really rich.
Oh
Just
yeah, because
after
she kept,
around, all her whole family died, and she was left with the fortune.
yeah. Basically, I think there was a board of directors and she just kind of stood at the head of it, but she really wanted nothing to do with it. She didn't want to do with the running of the company, everything. She was just kind of hands off with that. And they just sent her the checks, you know, here you go. So,
I gotta say, this woman is goals for me. Sarah Winchester is goals. You know why? No
yeah.
man, no one to bother you. You sit there and you just descend into madness You got a whole
Just talk to the spirits, like.
just talk to the spirits. You got a whole mansion to just downward spiral into madness. I love it. I
Yeah.
want to be here someday.
Yeah, same. That would be sweet.
Okay, that's how I
Plus,
want to
like
go.
she was a tiny woman too, and like
I
the
know.
stairs are super weird because they're not like our normal stair risers. They're like really short, you know?
Really?
And so and they're short and they're like long. So the treads and stuff are like of the
Wow.
Oh,
stairs are longer. So you're
Hmm.
kind of like have to take these weird steps. And
Like
then
extra
yeah.
steps. So.
yeah, you do. It's like you have to take 2 steps for every step, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess she had a lot of like, I think arthritic problems and things like that. That's why she stopped going up to some of her rooms as she got older and she kind of switched her rooms around and everything. Even the rooms she slept, she would switch. But she had so many options, it's like, okay, I'm gonna sleep this way tonight, and they would
Oh, I
never
know,
find
because
her.
like it sounds like there were just a ridiculous amount of bedrooms, fireplaces. I mean, Jesus, bathrooms. Only one of them worked
Doors,
though, right?
windows.
Doors.
Yeah, there's basically doors that you open up and they're like you open up to a wall or you'll open it
So,
up and there'll just be a flat drop.
so is these like the reason why she built this house is to confuse the ghosts in a sense? So
Yes.
like they can't really
Yeah,
follow her around the house or
right.
just
And
kind of
that's why
like.
she would switch room sleeping and switch seance rooms and
So I
it
do
was
remember this. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
stories. I don't know if you ever saw the movie. They did a movie that
Oh,
No.
Helen Mirren played Sarah Winchester, but they took a spin on it that's kind of interesting. Of course, they kind of like Hollywooded it up, you know what I mean?
right.
They kind of just took some of this,
Dramatized. Yeah.
yeah, dramatized the ghost part of it and trying to make it a little scarier. Yeah,
It's
spookier
still
maybe.
it's eerie because who does that?
No,
Something going on, and the fact that you had this experience in there and you're sensitive, and I'd love to delve into that now that we're on the topic. So I had
yeah.
posted something on my page, and you immediately picked up on the energy at this location. What did you pick up on?
I picked up on like a very like I don't know, I felt like desperation,
Mm,
um, sort of like mistreatment, felt like they just had no way to escape this place. So there was definitely, I don't say it was like fear, but it definitely felt like, in essence, like madness, if you would.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Rachel, like I was pretty impressed because I posted this and this it's this location where they used to hold like developmentally disabled and mentally ill. For a long time, people were mistreated. But Rachel, some of the things she said rang really true about the desperation. I actually myself, while I was there, I walked out of there having really strange thoughts. And it almost felt like I could call for help, but no one will hear me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
really sick things happen, but the hopelessness of not being able to have someone care or being able to call out for help. I had weird thoughts that would not usually have entered my brain. And the fact that you said desperation and like you were picking up already on that energy, I was like, all right, this chick knows what she's talking about. So you pick up on energies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think most of the time I know like either right before or when I first step into a location, like I'll get more of a feeling too of like sometimes I'll just walk into a building and I'll either get immense like headache pressure in my head. Sometimes it'll feel like in my chest, like a heaviness. Sometimes I'll get like at Winchester, it was like spinning. I got that when I was in New Orleans too. We were down like Pirates Alley in a certain part of it. I was like, oh, I feel really almost like nauseated. It's sick, like they spinning like nausea. And then I found out later that they had a duel that happened right there. So it's just interesting. Like, I don't know exactly, like, there's not somebody that tells me like this is what happened here. It's just the feelings that I get.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess they call that clairsentience, like when you have that feeling. It's just like you don't know what it is, but something's making, like, the energy is there making you feel that way.
Yeah.
Must be so hard on investigations. You must be getting all kinds of strange sensations, feeling ill or whatever, and then you later
Mm-hmm.
on have to research and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Sometimes I find it out when we're doing the tour or something like that with the if it's a historic location, most of the time they'll walk you through, and if you want, they'll be like, "Do you want us to walk you through and tell you the hot spots, or do you want to go in blindly, or what do you?" And I was just like, we went to this one location in Indiana called Whispers Estate. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
Mm-mm.
it's a crazy spot. But as soon as I walked through the door, and we went down this hallway before we went into the main dining room, as we got into a certain part of the hallway, I was like, oh wow. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have some craziness happen tonight. And Jen was like looking at me, she's like, what did you feel? And I was like, I don't know. I got like this just pit hit my stomach, like I was like, oh, we're gonna have activity tonight. And then, like, as soon as the guy was kind of done giving us the tour and stuff, we started having activity like crazy. It was just going off. But they have this one room that's called, oh, what they call it, the Psychomantium, I think it is, where it's just all full of mirrors, and you go, and it's the weirdest experience I've ever had in a location, because like the floor is mirrors, the ceiling's mirrors, and all the walls around you are mirrors. And it's really weird. I sat in there with one other investigator and and there was at times where we were both kind of just like focusing straight ahead, but I saw her like look like in the mirror. I saw her, the one that was next to her image, of her, but she wasn't looking, it wasn't looking straight ahead, it was looking at me, and then it
Oh.
turned and looked ahead, and then it looked at me, and then it looked straight ahead, and I was like, the fuck.
I would have
And
ran.
I was like, Val, I was like, are you like, where are you looking? And she's like, I'm looking straight ahead. And I was like, you didn't turn your head and look at me, did you? And she was like, no, what are you saying? And I'm like, you looked at your image next to you, looked at me and looked back and looked at me and looked back. And she was like, okay, now that's creepy. And I was like,
That's
yeah.
so creepy.
And then there
Yeah.
was behind me that looked like this little, I don't know, the only way I can describe it was maybe goblin looking
Oh
thing
God.
behind me. And then she saw it, yeah, kinda. If you imagine like with no hair, but those like ears and yeah. Uh, and I saw it, and then I was like, I was like, do you see anything behind me? She was like, no, but I see it behind, she saw it behind her. I saw it behind me. And it was
Yes.
just the craziest experience. But I, a lot of people, do, they look into the mirror and they scry into it, right? Um, a lot of witches do scrying, different people do, just another form of divination. But, that's what they say. You're looking into another realm. So imagine in a room full of mirrors. You're
God.
looking into many different, I think, portals of existence out there.
No, I've seen some interesting videos of people who've caught themselves and they're like film themselves in the mirror and their other image actually glances at them in a different way and they fucking freak out like what the fuck?
Oh hell no. I'd be in the
No.
loony bin after that. That would freak me out.
So it makes
Yeah,
you wonder, is there like this weird parallel universe type thing? Kind of like I always come back to like the Interstellar movie towards the end
yeah,
where she's like in her room, and there's that bookshelf, and he's like in that parallel universe, and he's kind of like he sees her behind the bookshelf, and he's just using all his like energy just to move a little something on the bookshelf to get her attention. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
is there something, some sort of, something like that in our mirrors, or like certain different things like that we could say it's paranormal, but it's maybe other dimensional things? I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's really because I think a lot of this stuff is connected, all the Bigfoot, ghost, cryptics. Who knows? Like extraterrestrials could be like the ones just throwing this shit down right in front of us to see what kind of reaction we get. You know what I'm saying? Releasing this
Yeah.
beast.
Like playing with us, like we're little
Yeah, like
toys,
yeah, just kind of like spice up the
like the
yeah,
Hunger Games, where it's just like a show.
yeah. Just I have no idea because I don't know. Like if I was a teenager alien that can just hop into a ship and go into a different like planet and fuck with a like a human or other thing just because of his lower intelligence, I'd like, I would bake a pancake and say, here, this is some like god food that we eat, and some simple
Fuck with us.
exactly just to fuck with them.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
there's so many
Sorry, guys. My dog is really crazy, and I locked him out of here. I don't know how he got down here. I'm so sorry.
that dog.
I blame your husband.
Crazy.
There we got it.
Stay there.
I like how that finger
I
point.
have a dog that's really crazy. Really crazy.
Oh no. There we go.
Those are the best parts. You got to keep it.
There we go.
We're
Keep it
good.
right there. So
Stay.
I was gonna say. So yeah, like the interdimensional beings. This I don't know. It just makes you wonder where these things are coming from, like stone tape theory to souls just trapped in this one spot. Again, I don't like to think that, but then again, there could be something that is a reason why they're there. This could be a punishment in a sense, It's just kind of like, is that a form of is that a form of hell in a sense to be trapped in one building? I feel like a spirit, you think it could be going somewhere.
It's purgatory. I think it's purgatory.
Okay, sure.
My personal opinion is that that's what purgatory is.
That makes sense.
Trapped
Yeah.
here.
That's what they call purgatory. Purgatory is purgatory a Christian view?
I think it might be.
I think yeah. I think isn't that just another word for hell?
No, it's just the waiting if you're gonna go to hell or not. You're gonna weigh out your punishment or weigh out your sins. If it's like, well, you killed somebody, well, that should just automatically you go to hell. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's I struggle with that because I think that if God, we'll just do it like that, is supposed to be this loving, all powerful being, why would they and so we're supposed to be forgiven our sins or whatever, then like why would there be a place like hell? It would just be like,
I know, right? That's one of the things I always questioned. Like if he's all powerful, why why even bother fighting anything? Let her run into heaven. I don't know. I guess free will.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. I think that the energies have free will to do what they want. I mean, if they so choose, want to stay and haunt a location because they feel comfortable.
Well, that's why I go back to the movie Poltergeist, because I think they did a good describing of why the souls stay, because they're lost, they don't even know they're dead, or they're kind of envious of the living and they kind of want to see their loved ones grow up. There's this, they don't want to go to the light, and the light is they're even scared of it, not knowing what kind of options you have over there. Because I heard there's different theories there. After you go through this light process, that you get a choice of reincarnation or go travel to the stars, or who knows what goes and happens. But just the fact that you have choices and you don't remember the choices, and some do remember the choices early on in age. I think we're talking about this.
Yeah, like in children who remember like their previous life.
Right.
That's a really interesting topic because I don't know. Have you watched I think it's on Netflix and what is it called? They have a couple of different ones. Life After Death. And it's a whole series though. One of the episodes is about like past lives and
Mhm.
this kid, I don't know, have you watched that?
I think I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's something that would attract people like us. This
I
one
know.
kid, he was like, "Oh, I had like a mommy and my other mommy who used to take me to this park all the time." And they tested him, and he even chose the correct picture of the park he used to go to. And he knew like his parents' old names, and he knew all this crazy stuff about. And they even like to hook sometimes these people up with their family.
Hmm.
Sometimes they're
Hmm.
still living, you know.
Yeah.
And it's this weird reunion. It's the
Yeah, that
strangest thing.
there was like, I think they did like Ancient Aliens did an episode, something like that on reincarnation, and they talked
Yeah.
about this little girl in India who
Yeah. Yep.
remembered
Mhm.
like her husband and
From
remember and
from a
like even
village not too far from where
yeah,
they
and
were
they
at.
actually were able to take her to that village, and she was like remembered the names and
Of everybody, and
family
then the
members.
family
Yeah.
even like well,
Yeah.
kind of like said
That's
you're
wild.
welcome at this family anytime you want because we believe it was your soul back in the day. Yeah,
Yep.
that's amazing. And then like,
Yeah.
and there's even like World War II
Yeah.
and World War I people talking about when they're just kids saying, "Yeah, I was in the B-51, got shot down over the Pacific, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
Well, they
blah."
do past life regression too. And like
Right.
people will say, "Oh, I was like shot down." And that's why I have like migraines. I was telling Dustin in another episode, sometimes migraines are due from head trauma in your past life.
Yeah.
That shit's
Mm.
crazy. And
Yeah.
you know, have you ever considered doing past life regression, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Oh,
would do it
what
in
it
a
would
heartbeat
pull.
too.
You would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it'd be fascinating to find out what comes of it. Because I mean, I think that there are certain things, and I don't know if y'all have that experience in your life where you're just gravitate to certain places or to certain like hobbies, or it's something like or an interest that you've always had. Like
Yeah.
I know that there has been like before I even went to New Orleans, there was just like there was a pull for me there. I still feel it to this day. Like I was like I want to go live there. Like I feel like when I go
Yes.
and visit there, like it feels like home to me. And it's
My
just
God, yes. This is the type of shit that like blows my mind, Rachel.
yeah.
Is sometimes I've literally never been out west. I've never been out west, but the West is calling my freaking soul, and I can't explain why. Never been there. But yeah, there's just certain things that call to your soul, straight to your soul, and you're like,
Hmm.
there has to be a reason why this is moving me on such a level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a guest on that was she had like such a pull to go to Egypt. And when she finally got there, got inside like the Great Pyramid, she had a whole experience that she's written about. But yeah, she actually like there's in one of the chambers. I think it was the Queen's chamber that she went into. They had like a sarcophagus right there, and they allowed people to go like sit in it and to really, I guess, feel it. But she went in there and she like literally they said that they had to come. They thought that that something really bad happened to her because she was like out and they couldn't like lift her out of there. They couldn't, she was just like she was dead. And she said she had this whole experience while that happened. And she was shown like that she had gone through this whole like ritual back in Egypt when she lived there in a past life. Like
Oh,
where she had this like white robe, linen robe, and they did this whole ceremonial ritual, and extraterrestrials were there even. Like
oh yeah.
it was like she had a whole big journey. But it was pretty, like, I was like to hanging off every word, like what's gonna happen next, you know? I was like, this is freaking amazing. But you know, she was like, she always felt a call and a pull to go there, and she didn't know why.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after that, she's had like, you know, so many more experiences that they just come to her, like in her dreams, and she, you know, gets told things, and it was just like, this is the, I was like, what? This is
That's
amazing.
no, that's really
Rachel, do you
tweaky.
ever feel like you meet people and you feel like you know them?
Absolutely. There's been
Hmm.
like anybody who's been tremendously like significant in my life. I've always had like when I first meet them, I'm like, I know you. It's like I recognize their spirit or their soul, if that
Yes,
makes sense.
yeah.
But even like my friend Jen, I think we both had that. Like when I interviewed her for the job at work, it was just like boom. And we both were like, holy crap. Like that's why she
Yes.
was like, you're my spooky sis, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like you're my sister. Like I've known you
Yes.
forever. And I was
You
like, it was the
guys,
exact same way.
that has to be, you guys were probably sisters in a past life because you can even identify the family member that they are. I've met dudes before and I've been like, you feel like my son. Like, this is weird, but like, you feel like my son. And I have like a loving, like, I don't know, I have weird loving feelings towards them.
Yeah. I've had that, like I had that when I was a kid, when I met my like middle school best friend. It was like the second I met her, I was like, "We- we've done this before. Like I know you from
Yeah.
someplace. I don't know what, I can't explain it, but I just know
Yes.
you.
Just know, and it's like, it's just their soul. Like, it doesn't matter what they look like.
Mm-mm.
You just recognize that soul, but it can be
Yeah.
hard to pinpoint, but I feel like people were placed in our lives that we know, kind of like how spirit guides kind of follow us, but like people are our
Hmm.
guides as well in this life.
Right. Yeah, I think so. And I think that maybe they're brought into our lives to help like learn a lesson or help like read, like help teach one another. That's what, you know, it just feels like sometimes like that person is like your yin and yang, you know,
Oh
you're
yeah.
the black and white and you just balance each other out. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
It's a
So
beautiful
it's,
thing. You
it
can
really
find that.
is.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I think so too.
And rare, but when you find it, you know it, and you always have to hang on to it because those are like your spiritual it's like your spiritual family, man. It's such a beautiful thing.
It is. And that's what I know that's one of the things that different psychic mediums talk about too, that like when you cross over to the other side and you make that decision to come back, it's like you choose everything. You choose who you want to come back with, who is going to help
Yes.
you learn your lessons in life to get you to that next level. It's like it's all sort of like talked about and planned out. So
Yes, that's what they
yeah.
say, that your spiritual family, you get together and say, in this life, I'm not going to be your lover. We are going to meet. We're going to have a relationship, but we're not going to be lovers in this life. And you kind of agree to it, is what
Hmm.
I've been told as well by my psychic friends.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
If that's it, but then you're like, why can't I remember that? Like, what's the
I know.
problem
I
with
just
allowing us to remember that? I guess maybe,
sucks.
yeah, I guess maybe it's just because you won't be able to learn that lesson you need to learn. I don't know. That's
Mm.
ultimately, but
Fully like jump into this life without remembering because you like again, free will is a huge part of why we're here. Connecting with people is a huge part of why we're here. But obviously, it's the age-old question, why are we here?
I know.
Um, I think we're here to learn that we're all just one, honestly, and that we're one energy.
Yep. That's why I said, I think like this is, I'll get into my whole beliefs, but you know, it just feels like, yeah, we're all part of like source. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We are what makes up the universal source. Yeah. So you know,
Whole
I
life
mean, it
force.
kind of says that in some parts in the Bible, I guess it says like, hey, we were created in God's image. Well, if we're all God,
Oh my God, yes. I have thought that so many times that
yeah,
we are actually God. God is in everything. Yes, God is in us. We are God. I've had that thought so many times when I'm sitting just pondering life. I've been like, God is in all of us and we make up God.
yeah,
Oh,
Or we were just the ET race that crash landed here millions and millions of years ago. They had to start from scratch because some dumbass crashed here. And then we
crashed
had to
into the
figure out where the
ocean.
fuck we came from again. Who built the pyramids?
ETs are involved. ETs have to be involved
Oh,
They
definitely.
are.
They've been
They
our
here.
are.
Oh
genetic
yeah.
Yeah.
information in some way, I believe.
Yeah.
Rachel, we're we had a guy a long time ago who's been on my podcast. Chrissy hasn't met him yet. His name's Kai. He's a famous physical psychic medium,
Okay.
and he's in Europe, I think Germany or Austria. I can't remember which one. But anyways, he's going to be on our show in April, and this guy is amazing. I've his videos and his pictures amazing, and he does it in front of people too, so it's not just like him by himself, but he does ectoplasma. So just like he
Okay.
gets
The
down like
ectoplasm.
into, yeah, he
I
he gets
can't
down to a
wait.
ritual.
I know. I was like, I
Crazy.
want to be on that show.
Yes, yes. Can Rachel
Just to
jump
see
on
this.
with us?
So this guy,
Amazing.
like, I could send you some videos too of stuff, and he actually can like have diamonds and crystals pop out of his eyes too. But he's just like he's and he
Yeah, because
cries
I
out all
think
this.
physical mediums are rare.
Yes,
There's not too
Ah,
many of them.
he
Yeah.
actually travels the world for his abilities to do what he does, and like the
Yeah.
fact that he does it like close up into in your face, and he has other people participate, like he levitates tables and actually has people
crazy.
there and like just watching and like ducking their head underneath, and he's like, no, I'm not my
Yeah.
hands are with your hands. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And then like especially the ectoplasma stuff, here's some like really old school shots of some of the people who claim
Yeah.
we could do it. Very amazing and weird.
I still
Yeah,
don't have a solid grasp of what ectoplasm is in my, I have to admit, I don't have a solid grasp of it.
it's Kai is really good at explaining it.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's the one that has this coming out of his nose and mouth.
Yeah,
But
he
when
would
this stuff
know.
actually when this stuff drops to the ground, it moves by itself like a fucking snake, and then it disappears like in a cloud.
I
But
know. I think I watched a whole, maybe it was part of that life after death documentary that they
Probably.
talked about a lot of physical mediums because they went over to like the UK
mhm.
and they actually let them observe, like I guess when they were having a seance, they wouldn't let like cameras be a part of it because they, I guess, don't believe in that fully, but they
Yeah,
allowed
no, Kai
some
is all
people to
about
be in the
the
room.
cameras and pictures and cameras. Yeah, that's what makes him a little bit more unique, and like it's rare. Again, and a lot of those are old pictures too. Like not too many people can claim this to have this ability to get the seance going, to get the and then
Ectoplasm out.
ectoplasma, and it's almost like smoke, but denser than that. Almost,
Right.
it's almost like I don't know if it's wet, but it flows, man. When it drops to the floor in
Very
that video,
dense.
it's just like it goes like gnarly, and then it just kind of like absorbs and it goes gone. It's like what? But the fact that it goes all the way down to his feet before it drops from his mouth. It's not like just a little thing came out of his mouth and it popped on the floor. This thing stretched all the way down from his feet. Then it dropped from his mouth. Like it was like a big ass parasite.
Oh my God.
Straight up.
This is
Strange to me.
creepy.
I'd
Yeah.
love to see it. If he can demonstrate that for us, I will be blown away. And it
I
looks like he can.
yeah. I don't know if it's
On
got to be like a
camera.
That would
seance,
be wicked
but
crazy.
we'll figure
Yeah.
it out, or maybe we can set up a future date where we can have a private little showing. Because yeah, that'd be great. No, I would love to
Yeah.
have that because my German friend Daniel is the one that introduced me to him, and he talks with a unique. He's got a unique accent, but then he's got this unique way of talking, kind of like very mystical, and it's kind of very like Like how about you like I don't know, like a 1400s wizard would talk or something like that.
Is he like Dumbledore or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that?
something like that. But it's like, no, it's seriously, it's really fun to see listening to him because he just the way he talks in his vocabulary and he talks really good English, but just the way
Yeah.
how he talks, it's just like, whoa, this is
But
crazy.
is he German?
Uh, German or Austrian, yeah. Mhm.
Wow. I mean, I get to
Interesting.
meet the coolest frigging people on this show. Rachel, I'm here tonight with Rachel, who is incredibly cool.
Oh, thank you.
I've just been having so much fun. And like I heard on your last podcast, Rachel, that you were talking about this stone tape theory, which Dustin talks about it all the time. He's like a
I
huge
like it.
fan of this theory. I have to agree with it based on what they see at Gettysburg,
Yeah.
because Gettysburg is absolutely a replaying and like a tape,
Hmm.
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Exactly. And it seems like from our experience in the locations that we've been in, where we've had like some crazy activity, uh, that there is something on the land or under like the foundation of the building where the activity happens. So like, for example, there's either granite or there's limestone,
Hmm.
and those or quartz, those are kind of the three. And then the other part of it would be like a component of water.
Oh,
And so like sometimes the properties have multiple different stones and they also have the water running through it. So
that
those
makes sense.
That's
locations seem to
interesting.
have even more, if that
Yeah,
even
actually, I
is
never thought about that.
possible. But and then they also have like so much history to them and all sorts of phenomena happen at those particular locations. Like one of them is South Pittsburgh Hospital. That's down in kind of outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And like it has a limestone foundation. And it's got like supposedly a natural spring that runs through.
Mm,
And it was used by Native Americans, but it was also like Civil War battles and stuff happened on the property.
okay.
And then like, so what happens on that property, what they have apparitions of Native Americans, they have apparitions of Civil War soldiers, then they have all of the hospital aspect of it too. So they have
Oh, wow.
patients, doctors, nurses, like, it really runs the gamut. And then they have something that was so they had, I think before the hospital, right before it just like stopped being a hospital. The last thing it was on the third floor of the building became like, just for psych patients. And so we went up there and we had some crazy, it was bizarre because we have a couple of friends that investigate with us quite often. I mean, we call them our mentors, but they're very psychically connected. And we went upstairs and we all felt the feeling of like immediate heaviness, immediate like pressure, like heavy to the chest. A lot of them got headaches. And then
Mm.
like our friend Justin, um, he's able to, if he sees something, he can project that to everyone else or anyone else who he wants to see what he sees, which
Oh,
is crazy,
Wow, what?
but he saw, which they've actually caught actually on like with a camera, took a picture of on that third floor, but it was something that was crawling on the ceiling.
Oh
oh,
no.
So it
that's
wasn't,
creepy.
it wasn't human per se. It
Whoa.
kind of looked
God.
human-like, but a human doesn't crawl on the ceiling like that.
Oh
No.
God, no, that's so creepy.
So he saw it and then he was able to like project it to all of us and we all saw it at the same time. It was insane. We were just
Mm.
like, what is it? That
Wow.
was just like, we never felt like so uncomfortable. We still even tried to stay on that floor and investigate as long as we could. But then one of the girls on there got really affected, and we were like, we said to anyone at any time who investigates with us, if for any reason you don't feel safe in a spot and you want us to leave, we'll leave. We'll like leave that area. We didn't leave the building completely, but we left that floor and we went to a different one. But yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, that's trippy as fuck.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
know. But the other thing is like, well, if there were psych patients up there, they were out of their minds. So I wonder
Yes.
if that,
Almost like a hallucination of theirs or something.
well,
You know,
exactly. Was it like a
yeah,
manifestation of
right.
something that they kind
Of
of like
something
what
they
they
kept
call it, like
seeing.
a thought form, right?
Yes.
There are those,
Mhm.
there's a lady who she's actually became like my I guess sort of like agent, where she books me and stuff, different conferences and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And she just did, and I think they're hopefully it'll be coming out soon too. They did they're calling it 24 hours in hell. But they actually went to that hell house where they filmed the whole movie series. And it's also I guess a haunted attraction. But what the phenomena is there, it has to do with like the whole made up like world that they have for the haunt has come to life in reality. So it's kind of like the fear and all the feelings that people have of being scared, and like it like created something that's there that's mimicking like the haunt.
My God.
And so they call it like she had a name like Tulpa is one of the names of it. And then she said it's kind of like a thought form. So it's kind of like what people thought of actually came true. That's kind of like I think of
Wild.
like Slender Man, I think is something like that
Yeah.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Is like
Oh yeah.
Like
he
people
was
created it. Like they
yes,
brought it to
exactly.
life. Yeah.
Yep.
Slender Man is one of those things.
Well, if you kind of believe in manifestation,
Oh yeah. The more you think
then
about something, you focus your energy on something, you're gonna bring it to life. That shit's real.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you imagine like maybe somebody out of their mind may not be intentionally doing it because they don't know that they're doing it and can't control it. Maybe they're just freaking crazy. And so that manifestation came to life.
Oh, it did. It's probably the guy who made the Mercury hats back in the 1920, or that's gotta be way later than that, probably the 1800s or some shit. Remember they used to put Mercury in the old top hats? Right? Yeah, that's why they get the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I
You
didn't
know that's
know.
why he was mad. Yeah,
I knew it was
No.
the
mad because
mad
of
the
mercury poisoning, but I couldn't remember why.
yeah, because it was
Because
his
I thought it was
hat.
because, because the hat
The hat
makers.
rim is made of mercury, like a
Oh,
bar
okay,
of it.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
directly on your head. That's gonna
Oh
go
my
make
okay,
you go
God.
crazy. So
yeah.
I just thought that was a crazy concept. Sorry,
Man,
made a
we
connection there.
like did some crazy shit back in the day.
Oh my God,
Yeah, like go
it's
ahead.
crazy. My dad used to play with like literally physically play with mercury. My dad's
Really?
really old. He's like 78 or something. But back in the day when he was a kid, they used to fit in science class, like physically just play with
Oh, that's
mercury.
cool. Yeah. He's like, watch
Well,
me
they used
swallow
to
this thing.
Right?
well, yeah, I mean, they used to let kids play with like lead toys and
Yes,
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
we
Mhm.
I
had
never,
asbestos in the house, and
yeah.
I think it was this weekend, when I like to go like antiquing and stuff. And so we were at like a big collective antique shop, and they had something where it was just like they were just mentioning in one of the little kits or something that it was like a sales kit that they had, and they were like, yeah, and they listed asbestos on it, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh, okay, we don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just nuts. They
Usually you
just
make that
didn't
out
have,
of ceiling panels or some shit. Usually in those
yeah,
Yeah.
ones. No.
yep. People end up with like cancer and
Hey,
uh,
Rachel, I would
yes.
love to know. I know we're probably getting close, aren't we, Dustin?
I think keep going. We're just,
I would love to know one more thing.
Yes.
What would you say is the most compelling evidence that you have ever gotten on an investigation or anything that you've seen that you couldn't argue?
Oh man, we just had this like I can't I mean I can't explain it at all, but we were at Harriman Hospital, and this was not last week and the week before, and we were up on the second floor. We were in an area that I guess was used to be like the surgery. And we were in the recovery room where they used to bring the patients after surgery to kind of recover in this one big room space. And we were doing Estes method. And so one of the ladies that was investigating with me named Beverly, she was lying on an old hospital bed, right? And she's got like the headphones on and she's got the blindfold and she's laying there. And you can hear, and we're kind of like, we have our, I think one of us it wasn't me, but it might have been Alicia who had her phone and was recording it at the same time. And you can hear, her and I talking, and we were talking about, because she did Estes method right before Beverly did in the same spot. And she kind of said at one point in time, she was like, when she was laying there, she said she felt like there was nurses and doctors working all around her. And she said one point in time, she was like, okay, I'm done. Because she said her foot got grabbed really hard. And it startled her, and she was just like, I'm done, But then Beverly's like, I'll try it, and when we were talking about that, she was like, yeah, it's just like, I felt like it was a doctor grabbed my foot, but he grabbed it so hard, like it really just scared the crap out of me. And so like Beverly's on there and we're talking about this, and all of a sudden you can hear, I mean, it was probably the loudest, clearest, most kind of disturbing, like, audible, like EVP I've ever gotten. It literally sounded like there was a man behind me and you could hear it on, I've got it on, I think I posted it.
Did you post it? Because I think I might have actually heard this, and I was like, "What the fuck? Did they hear this live?"
I had to cut it short, but like the longer clip that we have, I'm the one in the video that goes,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yes. Okay. So I did see this. I did see this. Okay.
And it goes
I was going to ask
like
you about
so
that.
clear, and it goes, I can see you. And
Clear. It's
that's why I was like,
clear
what
as
the fuck?
day. Yeah, that is freaky. I wanted to
And
ask you specifically about that. That's crazy.
or it says, I see you, I see you. Because
Yes.
that's afterwards I thought about it. I was like, is it saying it can actually see us? Or is it
Right.
saying we're in ICU,
Oh,
intensive
Oh,
care unit? Because at first
maybe.
we were all thinking it's saying it can see us.
sure.
And
That's what
like
it felt like. It was freaky.
Alicia was like, it was a doctor. It was the one who, grabbed my foot. It was the one who she's very,
Yeah.
psychically connected. She's channels or whatever too. So she said that it was the doctor and he was fed up with us playing there. He was like, I'm
Oh,
trying to
Sure.
get
maybe.
my work done. You guys need to just get out, kind of
It was
thing.
aggressive. I thought that was
You guys were
aggressive
dressed like
personally.
nurses.
That's what actually the lady that was there, because they always keep they at the hospital they keep somebody on site, even though she was
Yeah.
like downstairs on the first floor. They kind of go in like a room and just kind of hang out there while we're there investigating. But we went downstairs and like showed her the video immediately, and she was like, we hear this kind of stuff often. She's like, that's why when she comes there and she's doing a walkthrough or whatever before, any of us come there, or after we leave, to make sure everything is kind of, locked up and shut down and everything before they leave. She basically said that she tells them she works there,
Hmm.
so that they think she's part of, she was like, I'm just here as doing housekeeping for the day, just cleaning up after, these patients and da da da. And she said then they tend to like not,
Oh,
bother her too much, because it is like, it's like they're literally like in another, side by side
yeah.
parallel dimension doing what they did before.
Hmm.
And like, I think he was like, if that was the case, I think he was like, because that's what we were talking about. You can hear me say something
Yeah.
like, oh, they're just going about their jobs like, it's a normal day for them and we're here in their way. And then that's when it was like, I can see you, and I'm like,
Creepy. That was really creepy.
and
And
what you hear, like, you might, I think in the longer clip, you can hear like somebody scream, and that's
oh,
because
really?
Alicia and Beverly are like, they're like best friends. They're like really
Yeah.
connected. And she thought that that was Beverly saying that. She didn't realize, she thought Beverly was like possessed or something.
Right.
So she like leaped up. She had a hold of
Oh
my
shit.
hand. And so we both leaped up and we leaped on, she jumped on Beverly and was like, kind of like, I got you, you're not going to possess my best friend.
Oh, that's
And so we
sweet.
both ended up jumping on Beverly, and Beverly screamed because she was wearing the headphones
Yeah.
and had the blindfold on. So she had no idea what was happening. She didn't know that we heard this voice. It was just like,
I
she,
when I saw that, Rachel, I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me. They heard
yeah,
this? They heard this live? What the fuck?
exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. That's why I like, that was like the purest emotion that I felt was like, what
oh my God.
the
I could tell that you were genuinely like, what the fuck?
yeah.
That was
I
a genuine
was.
what the
And I
fuck.
was like, why can't I post this to Facebook with the cursing too? Because that was like the raw emotion. That's like how
Oh
you
my
were gonna
God.
feel what we felt. It was literally,
Yeah.
but the interesting thing was I heard like it sounded like it was behind me, and we had another friend there who swore it was behind her, and she was
Yeah.
further back at like she was standing right by the nurses station there, which wasn't right next to Alicia or I. So it was weird that we both said it sounded like it came right behind us.
Is your page, is your sister or sisters, is that public? Can anyone see this?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so anyone who's watching, if you want to see it, it's insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
or I have it on TikTok
oh,
too,
you have it on
under
TikTok too?
with the longer clip where you can actually, say what the
Oh,
fuck.
okay. I don't have
So
TikTok.
yeah,
Damn
it's
it.
on there.
I
It's
have to get
under, I
TikTok.
think it's under my TikTok page, Spooky Reach.
Okay.
But yeah,
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, it is nuts. I mean,
The
I've heard
fact
the
that
last
that
time
is
I was
live.
there, not this past time, but the one before, which was probably like 6 months earlier, we heard audible voices that we caught on digital recorder
Oh
too.
my
But it
God.
wasn't anything like that.
Yeah.
It was a woman's voice, and she was just answering like a yes, just a
Yeah.
whispery yes to a question. I think we had asked, like, are there 5 spirits here? And she was like, yes,
I mean, this was like a dude was standing right there. I hadn't heard anything like that.
like,
It's
Wow.
pretty impressive.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was that. And we were just so excited that we caught it, and like we could hear it, that we like ran down to everyone and we're like, oh my
No, I'm telling you guys who's watching, you better go check that out
God.
because
Yeah, it's
I
insane.
am a paranormal investigator myself and I never heard anything like that. I was like, tell me they did not hear this live. That shit's crazy.
But when
I was
that happens,
excited.
you're like, there was no other guys in the room.
Yeah,
We even thought like it was maybe our other team member who was like trying to fuck with us or whatever.
right.
So we like walkie-talkie down them, and we're like, hey, Mark, did you just call on the walkie-talkie and try to, scare the shit out of us? And he was like, what are you talking about? And we were like, and our other friend was like, promise that wasn't you. And he was like, what? I don't even know what, you
This
guys are crazy. What are you
this
talking
is
about?
what
And
you
we're like, we're coming downstairs now. We have to show this to you guys.
this is what you do, Rachel. When you find something that crazy, you try to convince yourself it's not, you're like, it's got to be the camera guy. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. There's no
Cause
way.
like,
And I'm pretty sure you caught like a straight up ghost. That was the clearest audible like EVP I've ever heard.
and we were apparently pissing it off
Yeah.
because it wasn't happy with us at
Yeah.
all. It literally wanted to scare the shit out of us, and it did.
Aggressive. I thought it was kind of aggressive and kind of mean, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it felt to us.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I want you to fuck out of here. And
Yeah,
this is the way I'm going
that's
to
the
do it.
vibe.
I'm going to say, I can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we're going to be like, but we can't see you. So that, so that's
Yeah,
the
that was cool.
freaking,
I liked that.
oh, God.
That's a crazy story. That was a
Yeah.
good. That was a good one on the last little note there. But hey,
Yeah.
Rachel, that was a great time having you back and having you meet
Oh,
Chrissy
thank you
for the
guys.
first time.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
so
so much
excited to
fun.
meet Rachel, and
Yeah,
obviously we
well,
have to
know.
have her back again because there's so much to talk about with Rachel.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
got a lot to say, and no,
Sorry.
you do. No. We want you. That's the whole
Yes.
point of you being here is you telling us your story and the stories that you have to come. And yeah, no, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
great. No, I thought that was needed to be said and needed to be heard, and I just have a blast talking about
Yeah.
the paranormal because you two just were clicking so well. So,
Yes, I knew we would.
Yeah, me too.
well,
I
cool.
know.
Rachel, will you stay with me for 2 more minutes?
Yeah, you got